Hey folks, it's Multi again, and for today's vlog, we're going to take a look at my DVD collection. Basically, I've been collecting DVDs since I was a kid, actually. My mom basically kind of helped me get my DVD collection started when I was a kid, because she'd buy DVDs for me, obviously. But I also will show off my VHS collection, and also my Blu-ray and 4K collection, or Ultra HD collection, I think it's called, in this video. Here's the thing. I was actually planning on selling my DVD and Blu-ray and Ultra collection really soon because as far as video games go, obviously like I always prefer physical copies, but with other forms of media, especially movies, I just go with digital at this point. So I really don't see any point in having a physical collection of movies at this point. I'm not as crazy about movies as I am video games, but I do love movies. But I find it just simpler just to have them all. Just in a digital collection somewhere. So, yeah, there's that. So, figure I should probably show these off before I do sell them, actually. So, they're all set up kind of alphabetically, the DVDs, but the Blu-ray and also, well, we'll get to that when we get to that. But basically, most of my DVDs are alphabetized. So, first we have Air Bud here. So, the original Air Bud, the one where the dog plays basketball, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's very, I don't know, it's just very endearing and it's a very heartfelt, emotional story. And I think that sets it apart from all the other Air Bud movies, so I think it's definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it yet. It's pretty old, it's like 1997. I was like 2 years old when it came out, and yeah, I just think it's a really good movie. Plus, it also takes place in Washington State, so like right in the area I grew up in, so it's really cool. What's also cool is this movie, Alpha and the Chipmunks. I was obsessed with this movie when it came out. I was the perfect age, basically, for this movie when it released back in 2008. And yeah, looking back on the movie, I don't have the same fondness I do for these movies as I do now, or as I did then. Here we have the Squeakquel, came out the next year. Eventually, I do have the video games based off these movies on PS2 and Wii, so we'll check those out eventually. Here's another movie I kind of grew out of. This is Ant Bully. The only thing I remember about this movie is Nick Cage. Otherwise, I don't like this movie. I really don't. This is another movie. It's just like Alvin and Chipmunks. I enjoyed it when I was a kid because I was the perfect age when it came out. But nowadays, looking back as an adult, I can't stand that movie. Here's a movie I have no idea why it's in my collection, why it was bought for me, but here it is. This is Are We Done Yet? I've only seen this movie like once. And even then, I was so bored. I remember being really bored watching the movie, just not caring for it. So it's not my kind of movie. Here we have Babe, the first and second movie together. The first movie is another one of my favorites of all time. It actually came out within months, maybe a few weeks of me being born, 1995. Yeah, it's another one of my favorites. I highly recommend it. It's pretty much what I had to say for Air Bud. I have to say for this movie. If it's a heartfelt story and it touches on the emotions just the right way, then it's gonna be a banger to me. It's gonna be one of my favorites. And we have a movie series you cannot go without. Back to the Future trilogy. This actually includes. This is the Complete Adventures. It includes the animated series. Apparently, there was a cartoon series based on Back to the Future. I didn't watch it. I just bought this for the 3 movies, which now looking back on, was kind of a waste of money. But whatever. Here we have Barnyard. The movie is actually called Barnyard: The Original Party Animals, but yeah, we all just call it Barnyard. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were anticipating that since you know me for playing the game and all. But here we have a DVD based off the cartoon, actually, the series that came after When No One's Looking. It's just got it's got 8 episode segments on here. Here we have a B movie. Another movie. It's funny. Like I remember just a few months ago, I watched this with Misai. And I remember thinking, like, the one prominent thought in my brain when I watch this movie nowadays is, like, why is like just the idea of the relationship between the main character and the female. You know who I'm talking about. Like why? Just why? Why did they even bring up that idea? Why? Here we have a Bolt. This movie I remember getting back during my spring break in 2009. I think that was 7th grade. Yeah, when I was in 7th grade, I was 13 years old at the time. And I remember being sick during my spring break too. And that was the one part of the year where I was sick. And because it was during my spring break, I had perfect attendance that year. So, in fact, I had perfect attendance all the way through elementary, middle, and, well, basically all the way through high school too, I think. No, I think I missed a couple days. I don't remember. Either way, I had perfect attendance growing up, and yeah, this movie just kind of reminds me of that because it was during that spring break when I was sick. Next up, we have Cars. I have Disney Plus subscription now, so once you have a Disney Plus subscription, you don't need any DVD, any Disney type media, physical media. It's just not needed at that point. But Cars, it's just okay. It's an okay movie to me. I don't hate it as much as, I don't dislike the franchise as much as other people do. I do agree the second movie is abysmal, but the first and third movie, they're pretty alright. Especially, and I think the third movie's pretty good, actually. Here we have a Casper Meets Wendy. This kind of is, it's one of those movies I watched as a kid, but don't remember much about as an adult. But yeah, I think it's a good movie from what I remember, at least. Here we have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the 2004 remake of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Good old, yeah, it definitely feels like a Tim Burton movie, basically. Yeah, it definitely feels like a Tim Burton version of Willy Wonka for sure, and you know, just Johnny Depp as Willy Wonka. It's pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. It's just a nice different feel from the. Although the only problem with this movie, I think, was Charlie himself. Like I think the Charlie character was just the worst part of the new movie. We have Charlotte's Web. I think this is like the third version of Charlotte's Web. I could be wrong. Because there was one in the 70s, like on VHS, but I have 2 VHS copies of this movie, actually, from the 1970s. And so I think there was 3 versions of the movie. I don't know. We'll have to take a look at that later. Here we have Chicken Run, classic DreamWorks and Aardman movie. This was the first time that DreamWorks and Aardman Studios teamed up. And Aardman Studios is the studio that released the Wallace and Gromit films. Next up, we have Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Nice classic movie. I thought it was pretty good. Here we have another one of my personal favorites, Coraline. This is one of those movies I like to put on during Halloween. It's like that creepy sort of horror. Like it's not really a horror movie per se. It's it's kids can handle it, but it's still pretty creepy. But that's what I like about it. I just like the setting, I guess. It kind of feels like a Tim Burton movie, but it's not a Tim Burton movie, so don't get that mixed up. This is Creature Comforts, actually. This is the complete first season. I tried watching this, and I didn't really care for it. It's made by the same creator. I think it's Nick Park. Well, it says it's from the creators of Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit, but yeah, I didn't really care for this movie and for this series. I watched a few episodes and I just found it kind of boring. What I don't find boring is this. We have the Donkey Kong Country animated series that was made in Canada, I think. And this just has 4 episodes on it, I think. Yeah, it's 4 episodes. The first 4 episodes of the show basically are on here. Honestly, the show hasn't really aged well, like especially the animation and also the writing itself. Like, there's a lot of problems I have with it when I watch it, but I get some. I guess it's like a guilty pleasure kind of one of those things. But what it's not is Emperor's New Groove. I just think this is a good movie overall. So, yeah. Watched this with Misai not too long ago, a few weeks ago, I think. Here we have Evan Almighty. I used to love this movie when I was a kid watching this in 2007. That's when it came out. Because you watch this movie mostly, I think, for the actors, honestly, more than anything else. You got Steve Carell, Morgan Freeman, John Goodman, Wanda Sykes, all in the same movie. Like, this was clearly made for just to have the celebrities in it. But I think it was a decent movie for what it is. I never saw Bruce Almighty though, which is and this was kind of a successor to it of sorts. I don't know. Here we have Finding Nemo, one of my favorite movies of all time from Pixar. But again, Disney Plus makes this kind of unnecessary. Flushed Away. This is a fun adventure watch. The video game itself I have, but I never really got that far into, so we'll have to look into that for a Let's Play or something. I don't know. Another one of my favorites, Fox and the Hound, at least the first one. The second one, I haven't watched it yet, and from what I've heard, it's one of those shitty Disney sequels, so I don't know. I guess maybe I'll check it out someday. Here we have Frank and Weenie. Again, it's Disney, so it's on Disney Plus most likely, and it's a another Tim Burton movie. Nothing much more to say beyond that, though. I do like the fact that it's in black and white. It's a nice little touch on the movie, I guess. Next up, we have a Stanley Kubrick classic, Full Metal Jacket. I watched this movie in full for the first time last year with Misai, and I loved it. I think it's a really good movie. I remember after I watched that movie, I talked to my dad about it. Apparently, he doesn't care for the second half of the movie, and just you have to see a movie to understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, the movie feels like two movies put together, basically. And the first half is what it's mostly known for, but the full movie itself is pretty decent. Next up, we have Garfield. This is just like Aunt Bully, basically. It's a movie I liked as a kid because I was the right age for it, but I cannot stand this movie looking back on it. I hate this movie. Makes me hate Garfield. I'm sorry. Okay, another one of those guilty pleasures as a kid. Happy Feet. So I did the Let's Play of the video game based off this movie, and yeah, I just don't care for it at all. The movie itself. I remember thinking it was just really cute as a kid, and that's why I enjoyed it so much. But looking back on it, yeah, I just don't care for it. Next up, we have Herbie, Fully Loaded, which I think is a I can't tell if this is like a sequel or like a remake or something of The Love Bug, which is another Disney movie from like the 50s or 60s or something. But it's basically the same concept. But this here in this movie, Herbie's the name of the car basically, but it's more animated in this movie than the Love Bug. Like in The Love Bug, it didn't have a face or anything. Like it just kind of moved on its own basically. But in this movie, it has a face too, so it's kind of I don't know, it's kind of weird. Here's another movie I enjoyed as a kid, and it's another movie that had it was known for the actors. Again, it's Jim Carrey and Steve Carell and Horton Hears a Who. So it's a Dr. Seuss movie. And again, I enjoyed it as a kid. I don't know if I would enjoy it as an adult. Here's another movie that basically it's Are We Done Yet again, because I had this movie. My mom bought this movie for me, but I just didn't care for it. This is a Hotel for Dogs. So, yeah. I'm sorry if you're a fan of the movie. I just didn't care for it. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I just didn't care for it myself. We have Will Smith, I, Robot. I thought this movie was interesting, I guess. Not good or bad, just kind of interesting. I don't know how others feel about it. Here we have not the original Ice Age, but Ice Age: The Meltdown, the sequel. It's one of those movies, yeah, I got in 2006, and I really enjoyed it again. I think it's okay looking back on it, but not that amazing. I would definitely watch that over any of the other 2006 movies I enjoyed besides Cars. Here's a very classic Warner Brothers movie that I watched like once or twice, but otherwise I don't really care for. It's The Incredible Mr. Limpet. Just no comment on this cover here. Okay, so here we have one of Pixar's best movies, well, at least in my opinion, Inside Out. I got this back in 2015 or 16. And I remember really, really loving it the first time I watched it, and I still love it to this day. Okay, so here we have the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour movie. We have, this is the third one. I don't have the second or first one on DVD, but I have the first one on VHS. So. Oh, I guess I should mention that my VHS copy, I'm actually planning on keeping regardless of what I do with my DVD collection, so that's going to stay. Because I can't go with it. I can't be without my VHS collection. Next up we have Jurassic Park Adventure Pack. This contains the first 3 movies, basically. I did watch the first 3. I watched all these movies with Misai, and yeah, we enjoyed the first movie, but yeah, we both agreed the second and third movies were shit. Okay, so here's something interesting. We have Kirby, right back at you. Kirby's Adventures in Cappy Town. This has the first 7 episodes of the show, and this is the English dub. The English dub is, it kind of sucks, honestly, compared to the Japanese dub. I mean, it's watchable, but for some reason, like, they made this Tiff character, I find her very annoying and kind of an asshole in the English dub. Like, whereas in the Japanese dub, she's like just what you expect from that kind of character, I guess. You know, I don't know. But yeah, currently Misai and I are actually watching through the Japanese anime, like all 100 episodes. Like we're about 30 episodes in so far, and yeah, it's been pretty nice to watch. Next up, we have Koopa Chronicles. This contains 7 episodes. Couple of them from Super Mario Bros. Super Show, 2 of them from like 2 or 3 of them from Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, and then 2 from Super Mario World. So yeah, and one of them, the first episode that they have on here from the Super Mario Bros. Super Show is Bad Rap. The whole entire episode is a bad, like, really bad rap lyrics, basically. So it's kind of it's very interesting to watch. Here we have one of the best DreamWorks movies, Kung Fu Panda. Yeah, we love this movie. That's all I can say. And we love the second movie even more, which I finally just saw for the first time with Misai not too long ago. Here's Lego Movie. Loved this when it first came out. I still love it to this very day, but I don't watch it very often. Okay, so here's The Love Bug. This is from the... Okay, so what year is this? Was 1950... What year did this come out? I have to check. Oh wow, this movie's much newer than newer than I thought it was. It actually had a limited release in 1968 and was released worldwide in 1969. Okay, so this movie's... It's not 50s, but it's still a pretty old movie by Disney standards. Okay, so next up we have Madagascar, and I also have Madagascar 2, Escape to Africa. So I've seen the first 2 movies plenty of times, but I have not seen the third movie, Europe's Most Wanted. Misai and I will probably see that movie very soon because we're going through all the DreamWorks movies right now. Well, we've been going through them, but we kind of stopped for a while. But yeah, I love the first Madagascar movie. A lot of good memories from watching that movie around the time it came out and stuff like that. I also love the second movie too. I think it's really funny. Yeah, we both enjoyed it, but there were some aspects looking back on the second movie that kind of here we have March of the Penguins. So when I was you're gonna see a few Penguin movies here because when I was a kid, like especially 5th, 4th grade. And that was around the time this movie came out. I was in 4th grade, it was like 2005. I loved penguins. I proudly declared that penguins are my favorite animal out in the world. And they still are to this very day, but like I'm not obsessed with them like I was at the time. But still, I still enjoy watching this. But I kind of feel regretful because back when I was in elementary school, like I don't remember if it was like a weekly thing or something like that, or just... like, basically, we'd have, like, lunch hours or something like that. Like, we'd have lunch for, like, entire hour, and someone could bring in a movie to watch, basically, during that lunchtime. And of all movies I could possibly bring in, I brought in this movie. And I remember being, like, all upset that nobody wanted to watch it, and everyone was just talking while the movie was playing. I was just so... It's a fucking documentary. Nobody wants to watch that, unless they really love penguins, so it's stupid. Marley and Me. I remember showing this movie with my dad, and my dad did not like this movie for the ending, like not at all. The dog dies, and anytime that happens, my dad is not going to love the movie ever again. He's not gonna love the movie at all. Never gonna watch it again. Monsters University, the prequel to Monsters Inc. I thought it was pretty fun to watch. Night at the Museum, Ben Stiller. You watch this movie basically for Ben Stiller and Robin Williams. That's basically about it. I don't know. I think it's a. I think the first movie's good, but I don't think it's worth like making a whole series out of. But that's probably just me. A classic that you cannot go without: Nightmare Before Christmas. Walt Disney, Tim Burton movie. So, Tim Burton classic. It's what he's mostly known for, basically. Over the Hedge. I'm kind of mixed on this movie because, well, here's the thing. I will say I really enjoyed the DS game, of all things, based off this movie, and also kind of, to a certain extent, the console game. But the movie itself is just okay. I don't love it as much as I did as a kid, but I don't hate it like I do Ant Bully now, so if that's anything, I don't know. I don't know how much that says about the movie itself, but whatever. The Peanuts movie. The most memorable thing about this movie to me is that I remember watching this when, on the first day I had Lau. I remember he was kind of, like the first day I had him, he was very shy and he was under the table. I remember having this movie on that day, so that's just the one memory I associate with this movie is Lau, basically. But otherwise, it's a pretty good movie. This is going on for way too long. Maybe I'll have to make my Blu-ray, Ultra HD, and VHS collection separate video, I guess. So, but whatever. You're at least getting the full DVD collection here. Here we have Pixar Short Films, Volume 1, Walt Disney, Pixar. I really love all the shorts on this movie. It's basically from Pixar's very beginnings in 1984 with, The Adventures of Andre and Wally B. All the way up to Lifted in 2007, so it's a good chunk of the Pixar history, basically. Just the short films, not the feature-length films. Okay, Ratatouille, one of the best Pixar films out there, at least from the 2000s. Okay, here we have that old clay animation, or whatever you call it, stop-motion animation, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So this is a Christmas classic, but it's not something I would go back to much these days, and I do think that the underlying message of this movie is kind of messed up, like really fucked up. Sausage Party. I liked this when it came out, but when you look back on it and you learn about the behind-the-scenes shit that went on with the animators and the, like how the animators were being mistreated and whatnot, it's not fun to look back on this movie. Scooby-Doo and Arabian Nights. Don't really care for this one. Watched it like once, maybe twice. Just don't care for it. I don't know. Maybe somebody else does. I'm sorry if you do. This one, however, I do. Scooby-Doo and Ghoul School. I love this movie. It's classic Scooby-Doo. Good stuff. It's like from the 1980s, I think. It says copyright 1998, but I'm pretty sure this movie's from the 1980s. But yeah, it's a Scooby-Doo classic. I definitely recommend it. This one, Scooby-Doo and the Loch Ness Monster. I didn't watch this one much as a kid. I don't know why this is in my collection, but yeah, it's there. Ooh, another Stanley Kubrick classic, The Shining. This right here is my all-time favorite horror movie. Like, it's not even that scary. Like, there's not a lot of scary scenes in this movie, but it's just the whole tone of the movie, and the scenes that we do get, I don't know, they just kind of flow together perfectly, and I don't know, it's just like the perfect kind of horror, and it's psychological horror, so what more could you ask from it, basically? Here we have widely regarded as the worst Shrek movie of all time, and the only one I have on DVD, actually. This is the Shrek the Third. So yeah, this is out of all the Shrek movies I have, this is the one that I have, or the Shrek movies out there, that's the one I have on DVD. And Shrek the Halls. It's basically It's a holiday special. It's like 20-30 minutes long, basically, with Shrek and the kids. Here we have Spaceballs, classic comedy parody of Star Wars, basically. So, good stuff, good stuff. A lot of classic lines in that movie. Okay, you ready for this? We now have all these. We have the SpongeBob DVD collection. We have Atlantis SquarePantis, Bikini Bottom Adventures. This was my first exposure to Season 5, and these episodes were released on this DVD before they were aired on TV, so it was very special seeing these at the time. Next up we have Friend or Foe, Karate Island, Lost in Time, The Great Patty Caper, Sea Stories. This DVD is special because this actually has all 3 endings of Shanghai, which is one of the best episodes of SpongeBob, and it's kind of interesting to see the different endings, actually. And finally, Where's Gary? This is not it. This is not all I have for my SpongeBob DVD collection. We'll get to that later. Okay, so next up we have the third Penguin movie on our list, Surf's Up. This was in 2007 by Sony Animation Studios. This movie was decent. It was fun. I do like the unique way that they go about filming this movie, like the unique framing style they do. It's basically framed as like a documentary, sort of like an autobiography documentary or whatever you call it of Cody himself, the main character. So it's kind of interesting, actually, like an interview style sort of. Anyways, moving on. Oh boy, I have to see this movie with Misai before the new movie comes out. Super Mario Brothers. I really want to watch this with her now that I've shown this to you, actually, because we got the new movie coming out in just next month, actually. So yeah, I think we need to see this before that happens. Okay, this is a very weird Disney movie. This is Tomorrowland. Even back when it first came out, I remember thinking there's something just not right about it, you know? Just something's very off about this movie, and there's a lot of things that I could say about it that I don't like, but there's some things I do like, so it's just it's really hard to know, like, to understand, like, what they were thinking when they made this movie, because, like, part of it has, like, a Terminator feel to it, and other parts it's like trying to, like, a dystopian future kind of movie. Like, there's a lot of Terminator themes to it, basically, but it's just, I don't know, like, I don't even know what to say about this movie, honestly. It's just so weird. Okay, we have the very first Pixar feature-length film, Toy Story, classic. So, nothing I need to say about that. Okay, next we have another one of my all-time favorites, although you could say this is kind of more of a guilty pleasure of sorts, but I still love this movie to this very day, and I will sing my praise for it to high heavens, to my grave, basically. This is Twister. Now, fun fact about this movie, this was the very first movie in the US to ever be released on DVD format. Back in 1997, 96. So the DVD format was brand new, and this was one of the first movies to be released on it, at least in the States. This movie is the sole reason why I fell in love with tornadoes in general, and I just love watching videos of them and learning about them and stuff like that. It's just very interesting and very, I don't know, like, they're just so fascinating to watch, basically. Like, they're very dangerous, of course, so don't go near one, and we could potentially get them here, and we do get them here in Wisconsin, but still, they're just very... This movie is basically... It's this movie's fault that I'm so interested in tornadoes, basically, to this day. Next up we have Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. This was very big when it came out, having a feature-length film of Wallace and Gromit. It was very cool. And here we have the most recent Wallace and Gromit movie. This is A Matter of Life and Death. Although this was like 30-45 minutes, so it's not a feature-length movie, but it's still... This is the last movie we got, basically. And I think the actor for Wallace has died, so I don't know if there's ever going to be another Wallace and Gromit film. Next up we have WALL-E, one of my favorite Pixar movies. The wild Walt Disney ripoff of Madagascar. Basically, that's all there is to it. There's nothing interesting about it. I mean, I think the films were kind of fun, though. That's about it. I love this movie, Wreck-It Ralph. I just showed this to Misai not too long ago, and yeah, we both loved it. The second movie was shit, though. It was absolute shit. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Good stuff, classic. And finally, ending things off with Zootopia, at least the main DVDs. There are technically more DVDs I have to share, but the rest of the DVDs, they're like a part of collections or seasons. It's just stuff like that, just complete collections, and I just put them with my Blu-ray collection, so you'll see those in the next video. So yeah, thank you all for watching my March 4th vlog, and I will see you folks later. Bye.